5.3 has been given notice that they may request a hearing in front of the city council on this matter. No hearing is requested, the city shall certify the unpaid utility charges, including property taxes for collection by the county, see attached ledger, resolution, exhibits. Have we been contacted?
I spoke to the homeowner, and they are fully aware of this process and understand what will happen.
So they could have been here tonight.
Questions?
I'll move on resolution 2013-087.
Second. Motion by Mr. Bunke, second by Mr. Hansi. Questions, comments, or otherwise? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And the motion passes. Thank you. 8E, consideration of taking action and completing appropriate documentation on the recommendation of the Economic Development Authority regarding several revolving loan fund issues requests. EDA met and reviewed action on each of these loans at their 7/10 meeting. Following list represents documentation of the 5-year forgiveness of flood recovery loans. Since an earlier payment of the promissory note has been made, all remaining Category 1 loans will also be forgiven, reporting obligations waived, and collateral released or allowed to expire. If there is no prepayment or regular Category 1 payments that are being made as scheduled, the collateral remains in place and reporting obligations continue until the loan is paid off. 5 loans in question here, 079 through 083. Any questions?
Always your businesses had a business number, tax number, tax ID number. At the time they were put in the motion.
Apparently, they filled out the paperwork and went through the process. They've all made their payments, right?
Yep.
So they fulfilled their obligation.
Move to approve the resolutions 079 through 083.
I'll second it.
Motion by Mr. Bunke, second by Mr. Hansi. Any questions, comments, or otherwise? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And the motion passes. Thank you. The following list represents the documentation of the discharge of flood recovery loans that have not and will not be in compliance with program policies due to bankruptcy proceedings. The original loan holders have been discharged from the personal obligation of the loan, and the city will not be able to collect from the debtor. Rutgers Real Estate, Evergold, and Rutgers.
So what happens to the real estate here? Does the city get that?
No. The city subordinated to the bank. They're second in line, like we've done on most loans, or it's been required. So I believe it's in the bank's hands.
You were a junior lien holder, so in order to enforce your rights, you would have to pay off the first lien holder. And there just wasn't an equity position to make it financially feasible for you to do that. You've done it in the past on some where there was a low first mortgage that you could then sell the property and recover. But on these, there would be no recovery. You would have more invested in the payoff than what you could sell the property for. So you're unsecured.
So Evergold is fully retired, so he doesn't have any interest in that?
I don't believe he was on those obligations. He had sold the business.
It's on the
these aren't his obligations.
He just retained
The name was retained in purchase, so Mr. Evavold had no obligation on these loans.
What if I could get along like that? Anyway,
Council's pleasure.
So you need a motion on this as well?
Yes, we do.
I'll move that we accept 084 and 085 resolutions.
second.
Motion by Mr. Dahl, second by Mr. Colvinson. Any other questions?
I can make just one little comment. If you down at the bottom, you see this on here, there it says total bad, 303,000 so far is the amount that was written off as total bad debts. And out of 17 million, 303,000 is maybe not so bad. It looks like a lot of money when it's just by itself, but in the big picture, we have a lot of businesses that are still functioning.
Yeah, we do.
Okay.
Any more questions? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And the motion passes, thank you. Move on to 8F. Review of proposed Rushford EDA, City of Rushford micro loan and micro grant program guidelines, details, the purpose, project eligibility, application process, potential grant loan amounts, and payback requirements. The document has been reviewed by the city attorney. EDA anticipates allocating $20,000 for loans and $5,000 for grants, depending on the requests received. See attached staff report and program guidelines.
Thank you, Your Honor, Council. Again, we're asking, tonight is just for your, this would be sort of the first read for council. EDA members, council members have been working on this, I think, since February.
Yes.
Off and on as we've gone through a fairly busy agenda. The reason we started this, to look at micro loan and micro grant is, we have a very healthy revolving loan fund, as you are all aware. And just the general EDA fund was quite flush with money as well. And those programs are great for larger loans, which involve a lot of paperwork and a lot of time and consideration and review. We're looking for a tool in our toolbox where we could get money out in a quicker manner. And so we came up with what a lot of cities do, which is to establish a micro grant, micro loan program. What we've looked at doing is have micro loans that would go through a process where they would fill out an abbreviated form of the revolving loan fund application. It would go before staff, before the EDA, for recommendation for council to approve those. Because it's $5,000, it's a revolving fund, so we would require payments to be made to come back, so that we could then reloan that money in the future. Grant program is designed to be very fast, $500. If council is willing, council would have to allow or enable the EDA to actually manage those funds, to disperse them, so they would actually do the loans, they would approve grants. In some cities, they let the staff do that. They have the authority to do that. We thought it'd be better to at least go through an EDA process and make sure that the full EDA has a chance to look at it. Some of the concerns that we looked at were how much money we were going to set aside. We put some amounts out there just for something to think about. We could put more in, put less in. You could start it with what we have, and if it's going really well, add more. Or if it's not going well, restrict funds.